Once upon a time, on an idyllic farm named Sunflower Ranch, where happy animals and cheerful humans coexisted peacefully, there lived a horse named Bob. Bob was no ordinary horse. He was curious and always on the lookout for new adventures. One sunny day, as Bob grazed in the pasture, basking in the warm sun, he heard the roar of cars on the nearby country road. Intrigued, he watched them rush by, and a thought crossed his mind. Why couldn't a horse learn to drive a car? With this unusual idea in mind, Bob's adventure began. He sneaked into the barn, where the old tractor of the farm stood. Day by day, he watched Farmer Joe start the tractor and drive it across the fields. Bob couldn't help but pay close attention to every detail. One day, when Farmer Joe took a lunch break, Bob saw his opportunity. He crept up to the tractor and climbed inside. His hooves weren't exactly suited for the steering wheel, but he did his best to grasp the basics of driving. It didn't take long for the loud rumble of the tractor to alert Farmer Joe. He rushed to the barn and could hardly believe his eyes when he saw Bob behind the wheel. Farmer Joe hurried over and stopped the tractor, concerned for Bob's safety. "Bob, what are you doing here?" Farmer Joe asked as he helped the horse out of the tractor. Bob looked Farmer Joe in the eyes with a determined gaze and said, "I want to learn to drive. Farmer Joe, I believe I can do it." Farmer Joe couldn't ignore Bob's determination. He decided to teach him to drive, but not on the tractor. Instead, he found an old, non-functional car on the farm, which became Bob's driving school car. The following weeks were filled with intense driving lessons. Farmer Joe taught Bob how to steer, brake, and accelerate. Bob showed incredible enthusiasm and made remarkable progress. Soon, he could handle the car quite well, though not always very gracefully. The other animals on Sunflower Ranch watched Bob in amazement, admiring his courage and determination. They formed a small circle and cheered him on during every driving lesson. Finally, the big day arrived. Bob had learned so much and felt ready for his first drive on a real road. Farmer Joe accompanied him in the passenger seat to ensure everything went smoothly. The first time Bob took the car onto the road was exciting and a bit chaotic. However, Bob remained undaunted. With Farmer Joe's guidance and the support of the other animals on Sunflower Ranch, he soon found his rhythm. Bob became a local celebrity. People came from far and wide to see the horse that could drive a car. Bob showed them that with determination and the right teacher, almost anything was possible. And so Bob lived happily on Sunflower Ranch, continuing to drive not for speed or efficiency, but to celebrate the joy of learning and the support of his friends. His story served as a reminder to all that it's never too late to learn something new, and that true determination can move mountains.